Former President Donald Trump, who has been very vocal and deeply skeptical about the U.S. involvement in Ukraine, has just met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in New York. The two men shook hands, and Trump said it was an honor to meet with Zelensky. Donald Trump suggested he would try to broker an end to the war between Russia and Ukraine. Trump said he has a very good relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Now, this meeting comes as Trump has previously called Zelensky the greatest salesman on earth, referring to the amount of aid the U.S. has given to Ukraine to help fight the Russian invasion. Yesterday, Zelensky visited the White House, meeting President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, both separately. The U.S. has spent more than $100 billion in aid and weapons for Ukraine. Now, for more on the story, we are joined by John Rossomando. He is a commentator and also a U.S. national security expert. John, thanks very much for your time this morning. John, former President Donald Trump, as we just heard, meeting with Zelensky. How did that meeting play out between the two men?
Well, I believe that President Trump said what he's said all along, that he wants to end the war in Ukraine, which has claimed hundreds of thousands of lives, and to bring about an end because he does not believe that Ukraine has the resources to hold out against the Russians. I mean, the Russians have ramped up their commitment to the war in terms of arms and manpower. And there's only so much that the West can give to Ukraine at this point because the industrial base of the entire NATO alliance is nowhere near where it needs to be. One of the things that President Trump made a point of when he was president the first time was getting NATO to increase its commitments to the 2% of GDP. One of my last things I'll say is that the industrial base can't keep up with the demand of the war.
Right, John, but given that President Trump has been quite not really complimentary towards Zelensky in the past. The two men don't really share a very amicable relationship, according to reports. So how is this going to move forward if Trump is elected president?
Well, Zelensky is going to be faced with someone who he's going to have to do business with. It's unlike Biden, who's given him a blank check, and also Trump is going to have to find a way to get Vladimir Putin to the negotiating table because at this point in time, there's not much incentive for Putin to come to the negotiating table. Although Trump believes that his relationship with Putin could potentially get him to the bargaining table, but I think that he's going to have a very difficult time reaching a solution.
All right, let's talk about Biden a bit now. Biden has refused to lift restrictions on Ukraine's use of long-range missiles against Russia. This despite open calls from European allies, as well as members of Congress who say that Biden needs to perhaps rethink this stance. Now, what's Biden's thinking on this, and any chance of him really changing his mind? Because that clearly did not happen this time around when Zelensky met him yesterday.
Well, I think that Biden's idea is he doesn't want to escalate things. He doesn't want to antagonize the Russian barons using nuclear weapons and feeling that it's cornered. However, as long as Ukraine has to fight with its hands tied behind its back, it's going to be in a real difficult situation, even getting to the bargaining table. I'd have to say one thing that the invasion of the Kursk region of Russia was a stroke of genius on his part because it gives the Ukrainians something that they can bargain for in exchange for the territories currently controlled by the Russians on Ukrainian soil.
All right. Before I let you go very quickly here, John, any change of stance on long-range missiles if Harris is president?
I think that it remains to be seen. Like a lot of things, Harris has not been very forthright in terms of what she believes on anything. We don't know, what she believes on a whole bunch of domestic policy issues, let alone foreign policy issues. Considering that she'll probably keep a lot of the same people in place, I don't see much change on the horizon.
Right, thanks very much indeed. That was John Rossomando. He's commentator on U.S. national security, joining us this morning.